This is Theoretical Thrills, the podcast where three hosts pitch original theoretical rides and attractions based on things they don't own. A special guest judge awards bronze, silver, or gold based on three separate categories: most creative, most practical, and guest's favorite. With bragging rights on the line, the hosts will try to pick each other's ideas apart through gentle ribbing. So sit back, relax, and stand clear of the moving doors as we present Theoretical Thrills.
Theoretical Thrills, the theory of the thrill.
Oh boy!
In 3, 2, fun!
Hello and welcome to Theoretical Thrills. I'm your host, Brad.
I'm Spencer.
And I'm Chris.
And today we have a very special guest, Mr. Jim Dooley. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Have you ever had a guest and say, we have a not so special guest?
I
was just thinking like, hey,
I think that was like me when I was a guest. It was a
I
think moment.
we don't say not so special. We just drop the special. We just say
that's what I was gonna say.
We have a guest.
We have someone with us today.
It's this
Yeah, we have someone with us
dude.
today who knows this thing.
Or doesn't.
So Jim, we brought you on for our Pushing Daisies episode. So we know your connection, but tell our audience, what is your connection with Pushing Daisies?
So I had the good fortune to be the composer of Pushing Daisies from 2007 through 2008.
Well. So you definitely know the music and the tone and the feel of Pushing Daisies, which will be great for our episode today. Now, since we are pitching theme park rides to you, what is your experience with theme parks?
Sure. So actually, I have worked on theme park attractions all around the world. So locally here in Los Angeles, if you've been on the Simpsons ride, that is my music. I have written the pre-show music for the Jurassic World ride. So both of the Universal theme parks in California and in Florida will have my music for those.
Wow.
And if you've been to
Pretty exciting.
Disneyland in Hong Kong, you will see my show called Mickey and the Wondrous Book. And so I did the song arrangements for that as well as the underscore. So that is going to be more of a theatrical live experience with songs and things like that than an actual ride per se, but a theme park attraction nonetheless.
Very cool. Well, I'm glad
gonna write
I
that
made
down,
the theme
'cause
park attractions I made.
Oh no. Oh no.
Great. So like I said, we're going to be doing Pushing Daisies is our episode today. And before the show, we spun the wheel to determine the order. And that is going to be Spencer going first, Chris going second, and myself going third. Now, keep in mind, throughout this, you're going to be judging for practicality, creativity, and guest favorite. But we'll talk more about that later on. So, with that all said, Spencer, are you ready to go?
I'm ready. I'm ready as I'll ever be.
Take it away. Love the decorations this week, by the way.
Thank you. This is my season 1 and season 2 of Pushing Daisies on DVD. My favorite show I've ever seen in my entire life. Greatest 2 years of my life, 2007 and 2008. Also want to preface this by saying season 2, episode 1, Bzzz, is my favorite episode. Also love the pigeon episode. Anyway, going into that.
Before we go too far, though, I do want to point out to our people that are listening and not watching the video, when I said Spencer's decorations, all he's done is he's just put the Pushing Daisies DVD sets up against his white wall. So now it's just not a normal white wall. It's his Pushing Daisies DVD sets.
I always like to say I see nothing wrong with that.
Everything's coming up daisies. Let me just say.
I was gonna say, am I allowed to have my own Pushing Daisies decorations in the house?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Feel free, please.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna put this down. I'm just gonna put this away because I can't tap that.
I put some flowers up. I mean, it's not an Emmy, but they're yellow. All right. Well, now that we've been shown up, Spencer.
That being said, let me dive into my not so Emmy award-winning pitches. Wow, look at that segue. All right, let's dive into it. Of course, Pushing Daisies is about Ned the Pie Maker, and where else would we see anything like in Pushing Daisies but the pie hole? So my first pitch is the pie hole. obvious pitch, but of course, it's a very basic replica of Ned's Bakery and Pie Shop, featuring such pies as triple berry pie, pear with Gruyere, tart apple, 4-berry pie, or 3.5-berry pie with a little bit of orange, spring passion fruit, and cherry rhubarb. And of course, no pie hole will be complete without the new addition of Chuck's ideas, Chuck or Charlie or Charlotte, the cup pies. So there's also going to be the cup pies in here as well. But it's basically a general replica design of the pie hole, very diner style, with the creations of pies on the like little pie corner. And that's pitch number 1, the pie hole.
All right. Simple. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. I don't have any questions. Jim, do you have any questions?
Well, so this is, as a theme park attraction, it's a restaurant.
Correct.
Okay, so you come in and there are pies to be bought. This would be like if you go to Universal Studios, and before the Simpsons ride, you would have the Back to the Future ride, and you get Doc Brown's fried chicken. Like this is, now there's Moe's Tavern, and where you can
Correct.
get the Quickie Mart. It's going to be an addendum to the Pushing Daisies world where there's the pie hole as a restaurant. Got it.
Correct. Yeah, like a crusty burger, but specifically for pies.
Got it.
All right. Which pitch number 2?
All right, pitch number 2 is the Darling Mermaid Darling Synchronized Swimming Extravaganza. And how this is it's an underwater show similar in style to, I don't know if anyone knows the Wiki Wachi Springs Mermaid Show, but they actually have people underwater. So guests enter a theater with plexiglass viewing opportunity for guests to watch as Aunt Viv, Aunt Lillian, and an ensemble of swimmers perform synchronized swimming routines to popular ocean and mermaid sampled tunes like H2O, it's magic, or Sweet Home Underwater, or Swim Child of Mine, or Algae There, or Little Nels Do the Swim, or
how many more are you gonna go?
one more, or Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Barnacle Bikini. So yes, they use thin air compressor tubes below the surface, as the Wiki Wachi does it, to breathe discreetly throughout the show. The show ends in a gift shop where guests can create their very own mermaid tail that they can take with them.
Oh my gosh, Spencer!
all rides must end in the gift shop.
So it's an underwater swimming show, but the guests aren't underwater; just the mermaids are. So you're surrounded by like water to view the show from above. But you're under. It's water. It's the same thing as the Wiki Wachi, but themed to Pushing Daisies and bigger.
Yeah. So Wiki Wachi, the way it's worked is it's like an aquarium. It's like you're sitting at in the.
That's
audience.
a good way to describe it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I don't have any questions. I mean, I know it works. I've seen it.
Yeah. So that's pitch number 2.
All right. Pitch number 3.
All right. So pitch number 3. I was going to do something from my favorite episode, being Betty's Bees, but I'm not. What I'm going to do is, so if anyone wants to use it, you're welcome to. I'm going to do. I had a hard time coming up with a title for this, but I'm calling it Magical Midway and Resurrection Road. And what this is we all know that Ned has the power to bring people, animals, fruits, whatever it is, back to life for only 1 minute. Otherwise, someone else dies around them, or if he touches them a second time, they die forever. So this is an interactive experience throughout the park where, similar to how Disney has like magic bands, guests would wear these bands and they would go to different things around the park, flowers, animals, fruit, that it's attached to your wristband. So if you go and tap something and match it up, it comes to life for a minute. And then at the end of that minute, it disappears again. It's no longer resurrected. And what I have is it actually becomes, once it's been tapped by a wristband, it actually becomes inactive for the rest of the day. Because once Ned actually taps something, once he taps it again, it no longer can come back to life. So I made it with this idea that, if you're in a group of 4 people, each guest can tap it and you can watch the experience 4 times, as in like a flower growing or fruit like demolding, like in the episode where the health inspector comes and he shuts it down because of all the mold on the fruit because Ned was going to bring him back to life.
I would like to say
birds flying, things like that. But there's also around the park, there's animatronics where, like humans, like, the corpsicle or whatever, you like tap it, they say like, this is the story of how I died. And then if you don't like it, you can tap it real quick and have it die, or you can let it run its 1 minute course.
So you're going to have
a magical interactive band experience.
You're going to have animatronics that are dead around the park, like for example, you're bringing your child to this park and be like, "Hey, honey, look, it's a dead dog. You should go touch it." Because a dead dog animatronic, even whether it's an animatronic or not, it's representative of a dead dog. You're gonna have a child or family touch the dead dog just to see it squirm around and then die again.
Well, you're touching the light. You're not actually.
You're not touching the actual dead.
You're not
dog.
touching the actual thing.
You're touching the light.
You're touching the band.
To bring the dead dog back to life.
The thing with the band.
Did you have anything?
The magic bubble.
Is there anything that limits it to a minute? Like, do they have to retouch it again to turn?
You can't retouch it. Once you retouch it, it dies forever. And after the minute, it'll automatically clock out as a minute. Like it's a pre-timed.
But it's a minute per person, not a minute per the whole park.
Correct. Right. So
if every single person could still do it. You're not locking everybody out.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. I guess touching animatronic corpse to get the story in a way makes sense. And like flowers, you have that special effect of flowers coming alive again. But what's the use of an animal doing it for an animal? Because they just like get up, chitter around, and then just die again.
It's like it's like, if you have a bird, and a bird is just kind of like there, like the tiki room, like the enchanted tiki room or whatever. And then, if you tap it, it like starts flying, and then after a minute, it stops flying again. Like it's not like you see it like die. It just stops moving after the minute.
I can see this as like the Pirates of the Caribbean. If you had to do this where it's like you start at the beginning and then you go through, there's a journey and you can bring things to life. I think I would recommend you to not have people.
I thought about it and then I was like, it's in my pitch, so I'm gonna.
The plants and fruits is fine.
Yeah. But in his pitch, in Spencer's pitch, these people and animals aren't just like frozen, they're dead. So they're either prone or like have a lifeless expression.
Well, they're not
on their
moving.
face.
So what if we
the idea is that they're dead because that's the theme of the show.
We take Jim's idea. We take Jim's idea of it being a sort of walkthrough, sort of story type deal. And the person the people that you're bringing to life are your tour guides, and you bring them back life. They give you a minute tour, and then they die, and so then you have to bring another tour guide to life.
I like that idea. Tour. I like that idea a lot. They have different people down the. It's like one of those like immersive shows,
audio
immersive
walking tours with a little like headphones, but it's like the people who are there.
And see, I could see this if you did this as like if this was the kitchen at the pie hole, and you get to go through and like turn all of the decaying fruit and make it alive. Like, okay, that's cool. The thing like the way that you would in Universal Studios with the wands, and, with and Hogwarts adventure. But yeah, I would say don't do it with people, because like, if you do it with people, it's more like the Battle of Hiroshima. Like at the very end, you're just walking through and everyone's dead. Less Pushing Daisies than.
I mean, it's not like they're like spread out like all over the place. It's like, you get to like the corpsicle section, and the corpsicle character is there like in the vat or whatever, or like then.
If you could wake, if it was all the characters from the show that Ned wakes, then you could see them come up and then die. So like if they're in there, you could have the fun experience of going into a morgue and pulling out a body, minute, and then they kind of.
Yeah, the idea is the people are connected to their sections, whereas the fruits and the animals and the plants are just kind of throughout the park.
I would like to just see this just because
it's not like just like like it's not just like, oh look, there's a body. Oh look, there's a body.
That's what it sounded like. Like, hey, there's a dead body on that bench. Go touch it.
Why my pitches are hard for me to explain sometimes, because in my brain it makes sense, and then I say it out loud and it sounds like it makes sense until it doesn't. But yeah, the idea is that it's not like just dead people around. It's just that like based on the section you go to, if you're going to like, the Dandelion Industries, there might be the body in the bag in the car, which still kind of an interesting sight, but or like in Frescourts, the football or whatever. Like, so that's the idea, is that like in each section of the park, in each land, there's like the dead person, but there are flowers like and animals like birdie, they're throughout the park. They're not just specific to their section.
You're inadvertently creating a land that's perfect for someone to commit the perfect murder, right?
Yeah.
He's okay
yeah,
with
sure.
that,
Why not?
apparently. Okay.
Sure. Well,
Right.
that's why you have security when you go in the park. You got to get checked for everything before you go into the park.
We're right next to Dexterland.
Man, Pushing Daisy's not as cheerful as thought it was. Ooh. All right, let's recap your 3 pitches.
My first pitch is the Pie Hole. My second pitch is the Darling Mermaid Darling Synchronized Swimming Extravaganza. And my third pitch is this Magic Band experience.
All right.
Okay.
Keep those in mind as we move on to Chris's 3 pitches.
Hey, my turn. So, first off, for those who are not watching but listening, I dressed up for this. Cardigan, black shirt. That's the extent of my dressing up as Ned. And like Spencer, my only real decoration for Pushing Daisies is the DVD that I own, propped up on my desk.
That's okay. Brad doesn't even have the DVD. So
That's
fine.
true. He has it all digital, not exactly completed, but it's digital somewhere.
Well, I was gonna bring out my Emmy, but it's in the storage.
In the other room.
It's in the other room. I can't get it now.
Okay, so my pitches. My first pitch. What theme park is complete without a way to get from point A to point B in style? So in the same vein of either the trams at Disney or the little carriages, I have the Dandelion XS tram that'll take you from one part of the park to another, while giving you little tour tidbits along the way. You will have the Dandelion XS car design into a tram, extended obviously for more people, driven by the Dandelion show models in costume. So they have like their outfit with a big old Dandelion head hat. And that is again, these are very simple this time around. So that is my first thing is the tram, just to get you in theme, get you in the feel of thing as you're going into the park. The next one is the interactive mystery. So with Pushing Daisies being a mystery murder show, I figured why not have something like this. Currently,
or a murder mystery show.
Murder mystery.
Mystery murder.
The words can be however ordered you'd like.
It's a whimsical, fun fantasy.
It's a whimsical way of saying murder mystery. It's a mystery murder.
Mystery
Okay.
Okay.
And so currently at Knott's Berry Farm, they have Ghost Town Live, which is an interactive sort of RPG sort of thing. So as you go from character to character in the park, they'll give you tidbits of a story. You like, for example, if you go to the post office and talk to the postman, he'll be like, hey, before you go, can you take this to the mayor, et cetera, et cetera. So there will be characters throughout the park, for example, like working at a pie shop or working at dog groomers, whatever their whole like tidbit is, and they'll give you parts of clues that'll help you solve the murder of the month. You collect everything, you solve the murder, you present it to the police, and you win a pie. You get a piece of pie from the police. That's the prize, is a piece of pie. And so that's my second one, which is the interactive murder mystery.
So before you move on to your third, so
Yes.
what you're saying is
Yes.
anybody can go and just do this mystery, and they get
Yes.
the pie.
Yes, but they have to collect
Solve it.
Solve it and collect the clues from each section.
See, I get this. I play a game like this with my wife, which is a Sherlock Holmes mystery. And what we have to do because it's not like you have a board game and you're moving around like Clue or anything.
Yeah.
It's like what you have, there's a map of London, and you think of the places that might help you solve this mystery from Sherlock Holmes' perspective. It's like, okay, I have to go to the apothecary, or I have to go to Scotland Yard, and you look in this book, and it's like, if there's a clue there, then you get that clue, but it might actually not be helpful to you. You have to gather all of these clues. There's in your theme park, you'd have, like, if you go to the ice cream shop, you go to the Intrepid Cow, there might be a bit of information, but it might not help you solve this mystery. So then you have to get information, put this together, and then you come back and you say, like, okay, based on all of these pieces of information, this is how it was, the proverbial Colonel Mustard in the library with the lead pipe. You like, this
Exactly,
is what I think happens. And then if you're correct, then you get a ticket, not from the pie police, which I think would be a very
Yeah, I know. I didn't even think about that.
pie police. But you get a coupon to go then to visit that area and go to the pie hole and have a piece of pie.
Yeah, I like the sort of red herrings and the unuseful information thrown in, because I think if you make it challenging enough that it's not a guaranteed just free pie, that's great. And then I think also you can make it so that maybe someone starts the mystery one day and comes back to the park another day that month to try and finish the mystery because they haven't gotten it yet. So I think that's a fun. No, okay, I like that.
Well, also, as we know from Pushing Daisies itself, that red herrings are actually pretty common in this world, to kind of throw off whoever's trying to solve the mystery. So I think that is a really cool idea. Of things might not necessarily be what helps you solve it, but it's like stuff you have to kind of piece together to figure out what is working and what's not.
Sure. And by the way, I want you to know the greatest red herring in the series is me. And that my job every week is to mislead the audience. That's my job. So if you want to know who the murderer is, it's who I paint as the most least likely to be the murderer. And then so when you get to the end and go like, oh, it's that person, I didn't know. That's my job. I am there to herring the show.
And I gotta say, it works really well because I watched every episode of the show and I rewatched it again over the week. And I was like, oh, it's definitely that person. I remember it being that person. And then watching it, I'm like, nope, I was wrong. Oh, nope, I was wrong. Like every time I was just wrong. And so it was, and I think subconsciously it has to do with a lot of the music.
It's a very effective technique, the music cues.
So Spencer's never getting a piece of pie at your park.
Never, absolutely not.
I'll be so distracted. I'll be distracted by the Emmy award-winning music that is coming from the speakers, you know? All the pigeons flying.
There's plenty to go around.
All right, what's pitch number 3?
Okay, and my last pitch is again based on another Knott's attraction from a couple of years ago. In 2012, Knott's had a specialty maze called Trapped. And it's basically, it's just pre-popularity of escape rooms. And they were about 5 to 6 mini escape rooms that you got to experience throughout this mini maze. You go into a room, you have about a couple minutes to figure out, like maybe 5 to 10 minutes to figure out what the next is. The clue is to get out. And then if you don't pass that, essentially you get moved on to the next room anyway, just so you can keep experiencing it and keep the line going. And those rooms range from like a morgue to a creepy kitchen, stuff like that. And so my idea for this, not in the horror aspect, but to experience the world of Pushing Daisies, is a mini escape rooms from designed after specific parts of Pushing Daisies. For example, you can go into, like, one of the rooms would be Vivian and Lily's living room, with how interesting and how much stuff they have in that room.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, right. You get, not only do you get to solve, like, how to get out, you get to experience these places that have so much detail in them and get to experience it as a fan. Another one would be obviously the pie hole kitchen, with all the details there. Another would be like a joint of Ned and Olive's apartments, because they're right next to each other. Or no, they're the Pushing Daisies morgue. Or you can even go into the Von Ronen windmill of Elicita, the owner of the windmill from the pigeon episode.
What an episode.
And so essentially you be these several rooms, and you go through them, solve how to get out, experience the world, and that would be my third attraction.
So I have a question. Have you did you ever do Trapped at Knott's Berry Farm?
I did. I was actually part of it too for a bit.
So, well, it's not Scary Farm. because it was one of their haunted house sort of thing. So I did it. I would consider it. It's an escape room mixed with experience. So the way that they were able to essentially guide people and keep them only in a room for a certain length of time was they had actors in every room that were part of the story, part of the world, and sort of because the puzzles were very simple. It wasn't meant to be like those escape rooms where like, oh, you may not finish. You're meant to finish. They're simple puzzles or simple experiences. Is each of your rooms going to have that sort of same sort of character actors
That's the hard part.
in the world, or are you just hoping that they'll figure it out and not just get distracted?
I think if we had actors in each room, it would have to be the characters, and I think having the characters like the aunts or Ned and Jacques would be too distracting in their own right if they're experiencing the world. So I think my pitch would be just experiencing this room and solving the puzzle laid out for you would be the way to go.
So how do you ensure that people keep moving?
We'll have a narrator, the narrator voice.
All right. Have you considered dead people and bringing them back to life?
No, I can't do it. I was trying to do the narrative voice. In my brain, it made sense, but then it came out very like Italian. So that was not.
That was Italian to you?
Jim, do you have any questions?
No, it started, and then I changed it.
No, I think I kind of understand. I think a bit of what Chris is going for. That each one would be this a customized kind of escape room thing. For
I have a question. If it's an escape room and an experience, would you then call it an experience?
No, I would not.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a clever idea.
All right, Chris.
That's an idea.
Recap
an idea.
ideas.
My 3 ideas were the Dandelion XS tram to take you to and from where you want to go. The interactive mystery, which would be the collecting clues to solve the mystery of the month and get your free pie. And the
mystery of the month.
Mystery of the month. You can't have it changing every week.
Mystery murder of the month.
I just loved it. Mystery of the month, and you can win the pie flavor of the month too.
Yeah, essentially. And then the last one is the multiple escape room experience of the different parts of Pushing Daisies.
All right. Overall, you guys both had decent ideas. I don't think we're really pushing the boundaries with your ideas, other than Spencer bringing dead people back to life. So I'm going to give you my 3 pitches. Now, Pushing Daisies,
all right, bring it, Brad,
is all about the aesthetic.
Think outside the box.
It's the vibrancy. It's got that whimsical look to it, and it's just the imagery and the music. Like, it just has that feeling to it, despite being very dark stories in that they're murder mysteries. Everything feels fairy tale and very light and fantastic.
I give props to the music for that one.
So that's something that we actually, the reason why it's there all the time is because it has to underpin the whimsy, which is not, as you say, like the story can be kind of dark. You know, I had the same problem when I was doing the Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. Like the story tips really dark. Mm-hmm. You don't have that level of whimsy in there. So yes, I appreciate that.
Which brings me to my first pitch. Now, I also am going to do the pie hole because you need a pie shop. However, I want to encapsulate that whimsical that I feel. And so my big thing about this pie shop is the pie shop is going to be designed like it is in the show. However, outside of it is where it's really going to shine. Is we're going to have a garden. A whimsical sort of garden, sort of maze type area with bright colored flowers, benches and tables that you can get your pie from the pie hole and then go out into the garden and eat it and enjoy it. But what will be nice is sort of add that sort of darkness toward things to it. There'll be sort of little Easter eggs, little hints of something nefarious or some sort of murder or something that occurred back in this garden. And so you can kind of see sort of hints to it if you're searching for it. So like maybe like where a grave site might be, or little clues of like a couple broken branches and stuff, like there was a scuffle or something. Like stuff seems a little off, but overall, if you're just walking through it, it just looks like a nice, beautiful, pretty garden. So I kind of want to have that undertone of that murder mystery part to it, that darkness, but also keeping it very light for that.
I call it murder mystery.
So that is my version of the pie hole. It's really it's about this garden and the sort of mystery to it.
But it's a pie hole with an interactive garden experience.
Yes. Yeah. So I wanted to really hit the theme of the show, or like try to get that sort of theme of the show of they're solving murders and these sort of crimes. But it's also, I mean, a lot of the scenes take place at this pie shop, and that is a part of the show. And so it's a location that's memorable for everybody that's seen the show. Mm-hmm. It's very iconic of the show. But then we're able to bring sort of that outside world into this location a little bit more by adding this garden. So that is my pie hole.
Okay.
Any other questions?
But wait, it's the pie hole, but it's a garden instead of the pie hole?
The pie hole.
It's a pie hole with a garden.
On the side of the building, and then there's a garden and
on
sort
the
of
outside.
like a maze garden type deal. Like the fancier gardens with the fountains and the stuff. Like
I see.
I feel like from the show, if I remember correctly, the pie hole's like on the corner of a street. So are you kind of shifting the location of the pie hole to a garden as opposed to the corner street?
I'm shifting it to a garden because I want to be able to add those colors.
Okay. Now, you said it's going to be on the outside of the pie hole. The maze garden?
Yeah, it's sort of like there's the pie hole and there's this garden that sort of wraps around it.
So people...
I say a maze in that there's like pathways and stuff that you can walk around in this garden.
How complicated is it? Because people
it's not like a legit like you're gonna get lost in this. It's you buy a pie and you can go walk through this garden. Like, have you ever been to the Getty?
It's like a backyard, an outdoor.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I say maze in that there's no set path. There'll be a bunch of random paths and stuff to go through.
It's like an outdoor cafeteria.
That's only going out of the pie hole, not going into the pie hole.
Going out.
Either way,
it's outside. It's kind of just around.
All right.
It's part of the setting.
But what if you just want to go to the garden and not the pie hole? Do you have to
walk
order
to the
food
garden
from the pie hole, or you can walk?
But
if you can only go if you're coming out though.
No, he said in and out.
I was thinking making this way more complicated. It's literally pie hole.
I'm not great with directions. In and out, I don't know the difference.
In and out's a burger shop. That has nothing to do with pie hole.
But no, going into the garden and out of the garden. Are you going into the pie shop, and then you're going out into the garden, where you're going back into the pie shop to get out of the garden?
Moving on to my second pitch. My second pitch is one that I'm really surprised, based on Jim, you being our guest, with the music and everything, that no one did anything like this. And so I'm going to do a musical show for
it's
Pushing
in the works,
Daisies,
potentially.
Where you can watch Ned, Chuck, Olive, Emerson, Vivian, Lily, and the gang sort of sing of love and loss as they solve the case of the Shiny Shoes Killer. I chose the Shiny Shoes Killer because that's the one that killed Chuck. That's the big one. And I think it'd be a fun little musical. Now, here's where it gets fun and different. It's not just a basic musical. No, it's not just a musical. I wanted to make it whimsical, and what better way to make it whimsical than make it an ice skating musical? So this will be a musical on ice. And so we're gonna have this sort of it's a mixture of skating with the singing as they sort of try to solve this Shiny Shoes Killer case, and we'll be able to have little see the different characters. I think I really wanted to do a musical because Olive's played by Kristen Chenoweth. You gotta have songs. Yes, Spencer.
So I have two questions. One was actually directly related to the idea of Olive and Kristen Chenoweth, because Kristen Chenoweth is such a specific character type and a very iconic musical theater like actress. And if I think about like Ned being Lee Pace and all the different people of Pushing Daisies having a musical, how are you going to translate those characters to people who I'm assuming will not be Kristen Chenoweth or Lee Pace or Ellen Green or any of these characters? And then the second question is, follow-up would be this ice skating thing. How intense is this for the actual people singing? Because that takes a lot of stamina to ice skate and sing at the same time. So those are my questions.
Spencer, it's all about casting. There's a lot of people that are looking for jobs, and there's a lot of people that fit those qualifications that I'm looking for. So that's who I'm going to cast. I'm going to cast the ice skaters that can sing. They're going to give that sort of feel of the characters. No, they're not going to be identical, but you're also not going to be sitting up there on stage with them as they're performing. You're going to be in the audience enjoying this show that is happening.
They could also be singing to pre-recorded tracks. They don't have to sing during while they're running around at 90 miles an hour with ice skates, right?
Yeah.
Sure. I think my first question was the one I was more concerned about, is the fact that you have such iconic people playing such iconic characters.
Casting. I mean, look how many actors are all similar.
I get it. I'm
there's a lot of actors where you can look at their pictures and go, is that this person or this person?
Because I see all of those when I look at the headshots when I'm casting. I'm like, oh, that looks like Kristen Chenoweth. That looks like Kristen Chenoweth. I'm sure they're all the same. No, not at all.
That's why you cast them.
But you should know also, by the way, on the show, when they're lighting scenes, the actual actors obviously don't do that.
They have stand-ins.
They have stand-ins. So we already, there might be some people out there who fit the height, skin colors, hair colors necessary for the show.
Okay. That's fair.
But here's the best part. You want to know what I called my show?
Oh, what is that?
The case of the killer, candy shoes killer, the shoes killer, the shoes
Bodies on Ice.
Wow, now you kind of lost me.
Bodies on Ice.
I kind of love it. I have a question.
Yeah.
My question. Okay, coming back to
Bodies on Ice.
Bodies on Ice. I kind of love that. And very much hate it at the same time. So my question goes back to the ice skating. I haven't finished season 2. There is no ice skating involved in any of the show, correct?
No, but ice skating's whimsical.
Yeah. Okay. Whimsy is sort of subjective. When I think whimsy, I don't think ice skating.
Have you seen a good ice skating show? It's whimsical.
I've seen a couple. I know I'd never think whimsy. Like, whimsical does not fit when it comes to ice skating for me. My first thought when I heard it on ice would be, why? It just feels very random to me.
Well, first off, titled Bodies on Ice. You need ice.
Well, you need bodies too, then, if that's the case.
Fair.
Yeah, they are the bodies on ice. They're moving. They're ice skating.
So moving
Human
bodies on ice.
And why not? I wanted something that was different. Yeah, I could have just done a musical, but I've done those. I haven't done an ice musical though, and that's what I'm doing. I mean, Frozen
I don't think
works.
you've done a musical yet. Well, yeah, but that's not on ice.
The whole show's on ice. It's about ice.
It also closed.
No, it's a traveling ice show. You know, all the Disney. There's Disney.
That's Disney on Ice.
Oh, you're talking about the ice,
Disney on Ice. Everything they do everything on ice. They did
You're not
Lion
talking
King
about
on
the
ice.
Broadway spectacles.
Lion
You're talking
King,
about
which takes place in
ice shows.
Africa. It is an ice skating show.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Sure. I mean, yeah. Things
see ice in
are
that
ice
movie.
skating
We do.
shows.
No, we don't.
Here's the real thing, though. Things are ice skating shows. Whether or not they should exist as ice skating shows is another question.
Well, this is an ice skating show, and I'm sticking by it. Pitch number 3. Pitch number 3. Now,
Okay.
Spencer, you took the idea of bringing things to life and killing things. Quite literally, we're just going to bring animals and people to life and kill them. I wanted to give that sort of
There's
same
more to it.
feeling of that sort of a look at that you had the power to bring things to life and take it away, but also make it a ride attraction. And so what I'm providing with you is Pushing Daisies bumper cars.
Okay.
So the way my Pushing Daisies bumper cars is going to work is
Dear Lord.
bumper cars are going to have sensors on the sides and back of every bumper car. There will be no sensors on the front. The reason for this is that as you collide with other bumper cars in your little Daisy bumper car, you're going to, if you hit these sensors with the front of your car on, if you hit the sensors on any of these other cars, you'll deactivate their accelerator for 3 seconds, meaning they cannot move. Their car has died. After 3 seconds, it'll come back to life and proceed to move around again. So I wanted to give this sort of, it's like the secondary touch of like, oh, we've given the touch, you've gone back to death. Type deal. And so I wanted to add that sort of fun element. I think by doing it with bumper cars, we have the contact. We have a reason for the contact. It allows us to be like, oh, you touched and the car powered down. No, as it sort of skirts away on its air pneumatics, air casters, as it skates away on the air casters, and it sort of just roams a little bit further, and then you finally gain control again to go do bumper cars again. And I think it'd be a lot of fun, and just the mayhem of you hit someone, it deactivates their accelerator, so they're just left skating, and then they collide with someone else, which deactivates their accelerator, and so now they're left skating for 3 seconds in a different direction, and it gives this sort of fun little game to it, fun little effect to it of bumper cars that is more than just, oh, we hit, we jolt, and that's it. So that's it. That's my Pushing Daisies bumper cars. I already see hands raised. Excellent. Spencer?
If there's two, based on how like inertia works and everything, if there's two cars that hit each other head on, are they both deactivated? How do you know which one hit the other person
Well, if
first?
they hit each other head on, there's no sensors in the front, so then they just hit each other head on, like bumper cars.
So there's only sensors on specific parts of the car, so I could just avoid getting that side hit the whole ride I'm on. I could just go in a circle and never get hit. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you could play bumper cars and avoid getting hit. Have you ever been on bumper cars?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
But here's the thing: if you go in a circle,
or bumper boats, I don't like those either.
If you go in a circle, that's actually the perfect opportunity for my bumper cars to work, because what happens is as you're going in the circle, the people that are going to hit you are the people that are coming in from the side, so they're going to hit your sensor, which is going to deactivate your accelerator and cause you to coast for 3 seconds.
I feel like there's danger involved in this. Like, I don't really want to be coasting for 3 seconds without like the ability to actually.
It just gets rid of your accelerator, not your, like, yeah, I mean, it's a bumper car. So you're
I don't like bumper cars.
You're in a controlled area. No one's allowed to be walking around or anything. The whole point is you're colliding with other cars.
Bumper cars make me dizzy.
Okay, this ride isn't for you, Spencer. Chris, what are your pitches? What's your question?
So when they get deactivated, what's going to prevent it from, like, what if, for example, you have like a whole slew of cars coming at you because they got pushed over and you get deactivated? Like, what's going to prevent it from going like 3 seconds on, hit again, 3 seconds on, hit again? Like, that's going to...
You think laser tag. When you get hit in laser tag, it deactivates your gun for a couple seconds and then it comes back and stuff. And usually there's a immunity period right after it comes back on.
Oh,
it's that same sort of concept.
Okay. That was my primary concern was that whole bit.
Yeah, so you can't have someone just constantly just standing in front of you, keeping you from, like in laser tag, just constantly hitting your button and stuff.
Right.
There would have been a great opportunity here to take the dandelion and make the bumper cars dandelion bumper cars, where there's like a deactivation.
Well, they're daisies.
If you want to do that touch. Well, I'm saying like the dandelion shape. That would have been a fun hybrid. Like, cars are hybrids, hybrid cars. Wow, that was cool.
I will say also, there's the issue of, you're crashing into a car and killing it sort of deal might bring up some issues with some people.
Yeah, and also how many times, like if you get hit 14 times, that means you're now out of the world and you can actually come back to life 14 times versus the one time. And that one time is the important moment of coming back to life to tell your sob story before you go back to never being alive again.
I think you guys are really overthinking my bumper cars.
just pointing out some
Not easy, man.
I did bumper
concepts
cars with a Pushing Daisies twist. This is not supposed to be like a deep philosophical question on life and death. This is bumper cars.
Just
And
you know,
pre-existing-
tidbits.
Which you won't even ride,
Possible-
Spencer. You've already said you won't ride it
pre-existing
'cause you hate bumper
trauma.
cars. So my 3 pitches were The Pie Hole with Garden, Bodies on Ice, my ice skating musical, and Pushing Daisies Bumper Cars are my 3 pitches. There are your 9 pitches, Jim. Now, it is up to you to break these down into categories. The 3 categories that you will be giving a bronze, silver, and gold medal to are, Spencer.
The 3 categories are practicality, which is something that feels like it could live in the world of a Pushing Daisies theme park. Creativity, which is something that, for lack of a better word, is creative. And guest favorite, which, Jim, these are things that tickle your fancy, rivet your rib cages, whatever it is that makes you just go, ha, inside, or oh, or whatever the case may be. These are the ones that you just enjoyed for whatever reasons.
Sure. So am I giving 3 awards for 3 categories? Is it 9 awards so everything gets an award like a child soccer match these days?
No.
We're not participation trophies here.
So you will be able to give the same. You can give the same. You're giving each attraction. You have 9 attractions to choose from. You can give them all an award. You can give just one, multiple awards. You can give a person all the awards. You get to decide how you're giving up these medals.
Okay. Well, I have a plan then, since I have.
So let's start with practicality.
For practicality, there's 2 that stand out here. It's really Spencer's Pie Hole, because you cannot have a theme park for Pushing Daisies without the Pie Hole. And from a practicality point of view, Sans Garden, I think, is just having a hut where you can sell pie, easy peasy.
All right. So is that your bronze?
That's my gold for the practicality.
Okay.
But tied. If you can have a tie here, I think the dandelion tram from Chris, again, you could take anything, you paint it, you cover it in fake dandelions, and you take someone who's dressed like Janine from the episode Dummies, and you don't have to worry about, say, casting. Brad, in this case, like there's a uniform, they put on the green, they got a thing in the, a wig, which will probably
big eyelashes
quite often. But yes, then you would have, I would say, for practicality, those are my 2 favorites.
All right. So practicality, first ever, we have a tie in our practicality. So what we're going to do is we're just going to give both those a gold medal and move on to our next category. So our next category then is creativity. Creativity for the bronze.
For creativity, I'm going to give a gold medal in creativity. Does that sound?
Yeah.
Okay. It's obviously got to be for what's my favorite, which is the interactive mystery, the park-wide mystery, which I think is a great thing. But I think I know you said on the initial pitch, but when you actually put this in that theme park, please, I think that you're going to have to give them something besides pie. I think once it gets out that what the solution is, it'll be over Twitter, and you'll be giving out so much more pie, you'll never be able to sustain a theme park.
That's absolutely fair.
So it would have to be something like, where a ticket into a raffle that's daily or something for a pie,
right.
Where
you get a high five.
It's going to be, you're not just going to be giving out 1,000 things like this every day. It's just, frankly, just not practical.
Fair.
Which is why it's in the creativity. And I love those things where you can, essentially, you're in this giant game of every place you go to in the world, then you can get a little bit more information. And I think that'd be a great way to get people to see all the attractions within the theme park itself.
All right.
Yeah.
And for guest favorite, this is a no-brainer. It's got to be Bodies on Ice. And the reason it is the guest favorite is because it's the only attraction that involves me. It's a musical. I have a job now.
You're welcome.
But what about the arrangements for the Mermaid Extravaganza?
No. I'm giving a whole musical. You're giving underwater.
I've been waiting for this call for 12 years of when I'm going to have to write more Pushing Daisies music, and it hasn't come yet. This is the first time a job offer has come my way. But I'm going to ask you guys one thing for me. I have 3 attractions of my own that I'm going to pick you.
All right.
And I would like you guys to help me. Which ones get a gold, a bronze, and a silver? If you could order these in your favorites. So the first one is the petting zoo. The Digby Petting Zoo / adoption center. So you go to this area, it's a bunch of puppies, and if you like them, they are adoptable. It's the Digby Petting Extravaganza. And secondly, the Intrepid Cow mac and cheese stand. How can you not have a mac and cheese stand? I mean, we're always talking about, we got all the pie hole, there was no bittersweets, there's no chocolate. But for me, it's always about the savory. And I would say the Intrepid Cow mac and cheese shop, which has to be there. And the Dandelion roller coaster. It's like, I say, if you're going to do this, remember, because they get shot at such an incredible speed at the wall, it's just saying that this thing has to go 100 miles an hour.
It's so funny that you say that, because I had planned on doing a test track theme with Dandelion Industries, where you create your own virtual car like you do in Test Track, and then you ride it. But I didn't, so that's on me.
This is not for an attraction, but in the park is going to have to be the information kiosk, which is going to be the boutique travel boutique. All your
I had
can be answered about where things are inside the park.
This is eating me up now, because I had a boutique of Betty's Bees where you can buy like a little honey in a little cottage, and then you can see how the bees make the honey. Now I feel like I just completely pitched the opposite way.
You didn't do it.
I'm gonna have to say, for me personally, bronze to the cow, silver to the petting extravaganza, and gold to that roller coaster.
You know what?
I usually, most of my pitches, I love pitching roller coasters, and the fact that, I don't know why I didn't think of that. That a brilliant idea for a roller coaster that is easy to just transfer in, because you'll launch coaster.
That's going to be the same exact thing for me. Coaster being gold specifically because I pitched the Dandelion Tram. Didn't even occur to me to make it a roller coaster, and that's shame on me for not thinking about that.
And for me, I would go bronze petting zoo, silver the roller coaster, and gold for Intrepid Cow, because I love me some mac and cheese. So that's why I would give that the gold.
All right, well, there you have it. Jim, thank you so much for being our guest today. It's been quite a pleasure. Do you have anything that you would like to pitch before we say goodbye?
The end of the pandemic.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
Please. Thank you again so much. This has been a pleasure, and this has been Theoretical Thrills. I've been Brad.
I'm Spencer.
And I'm Chris.
And that's been Jim.
Did you enjoy the episode you just watched? Feel free to like, subscribe, and share. And if you have an interpretation of an idea based on the theme of the week, feel free to tag us on social media with hashtag Theoretical Thrills, and we may feature your ride and attraction on the show.
Theoretical Thrills, the theory of the thrill.